Hey guys, and welcome to 702 Gaming Podcast #2. This is our second one. We're here to talk about E3 today. It happened, I know, a week or two ago, but we haven't gotten a chance to talk about it with each other, so I just kind of wanted to see your viewpoints and everything. Again, I'm Jacob. We have Jason and Josh with us. So, did you guys get to watch the E3 coverage or the press conferences?
I watched some of it. I figured that this year was going to be similar to what it was. Mainly, I was interested in what Nintendo was going to do and anything for the PC. I wanted to see what we were looking at. I mean, there's not like a PC E3, but there are games that are geared specifically towards, the PC. I don't own an Xbox or have a desire necessarily. So I like to check that out though now because a lot of those games could be coming to the PC. So
Yes.
I definitely, I checked it out. I've checked it out afterwards more than when it was happening live.
I would say about the same for me as well there. I was actually out of town that day that it went live and everything, and we saw, the Xbox main stage, I guess, if you will. I'm not really sure what they're calling it anymore now. That's right. It's all virtual, right? So there's
Right.
no. Um, and then Nintendo was completely separated from E3, right? We had just watched that. So, or wait, is that still coming up for us right now? I don't know real time.
Yeah.
But
And then, yeah, same with PlayStation, right? They do their own thing.
yeah,
It's basically just developers and what Microsoft
yeah,
these days.
maybe
For the most
maybe
part.
E3 is like breaking up, and it's not everybody seems like they want to kind of do their own thing right now. So I don't know.
Not right now. I think that might, unfortunately, be kind of a telltale sign of the future, which sucks. There's no better way to put it. I get it. Everyone wants to maximize their earnings and what's going out versus what's coming in. But this is something that's for the fans, but it's also for the developers, especially indie developers. This is their time, to shine. So I know they have PAX also, but I don't know if that's even still a thing.
Oh, right. Yeah, I
PAX
don't.
East and
Yeah, I haven't heard that said for a while now.
Yeah.
If we're just talking strictly of the conventions and stuff that's happening, but
right, which we are all well informed on the convention side because we all work in that kind of area.
Yep.
And conventions we've seen for years and years and years go on, not necessarily gaming ones, but all kinds have just kind of fallen away. So,
Yeah.
especially with this last year with the pandemic.
Yeah.
So who
more
knows about
virtual,
it?
more
Yeah,
virtual,
or just go
yeah.
virtual, yeah.
Well, I mean,
Well, these companies pay into E3 to be part of even that virtual space, right?
yep.
But someone like Sony says, I don't need to pay you to do it. I can just do it myself. And I think that works just fine.
I mean, it's kind of like if you're a baseball team, basketball team, or whatever you are. How do you prove yourself? To me, you prove yourself in front of your peers. There's no other way to do that. You can absolutely say we're just going to have our own event and say we're the best, but until you're on that stage side by side, so that the actual people that are going to pick up these items, whether it's a system, whether it's games, whether it's a new power pad, right? Until you have the people actually say they won and this is where I'm putting my money, what did you win?
Yeah,
So
that's
Yeah, I
true.
like
Because
that
then,
a lot.
it's true.
yeah, they're all on that same stage. People are starting to compare, really
Yeah.
look at what they like, what they don't like. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's never going to be, the moments where you got the Sega Saturn dropping, and then you've got the PlayStation dropping, and the Saturn comes out, and I want to say they were dropping it for like $300, and everyone was kind of like, oh, it's $300. It's $300 of like 1990s money, right?
Yeah.
So, well, I don't know what that's the equivalent of, for something maybe. And then you have Sony just walk up and say, you know, $199 and then walk away, everyone's like, oh my God, what just happened? Right?
Right.
So
Yeah.
those moments, not that the developers want them, but those moments are gone when you are like, well, we're just going to play in our own court.
Yeah.
You
I
know?
like the showcase the feel more than what is, you know, that trend, and I hope that's just a COVID trend. It very well, you know, could be. Like you said, just having all those different stages, and I think, but there's also, you can put so much in front of the eyes of people doing that as well, right? Sony's own thing is only going to be so long, right? Half a day, or whatever. But they can, in a way, because it's the showcase, then they can kind of milk it for all it's worth. I think there's more time to expose more details of what's going on, and, you know, like I said, more indie, lower budget titles. Hades, I'll bring that one up. That's when I'm like, that's a like low budget indie one. That's, look at all those awards that we saw on E3,
Right.
and that production value that E3 put on that game alone.
Right.
Like, I want to play it. I didn't even know that was out for a while. So
It's a great game, by the way.
yeah, is it? Yeah, you played that. Okay, we'll get into that one maybe
Great
later.
game.
'Cause
Yeah.
I want to know. I don't want to
I
get
do
too
too.
far off
It
track
is.
with that.
I'm not
but-
even like into those type of games really, but that one, it was like, wow, that came out of nowhere. You know? So of course now they're like, yeah, it's also on our system. Like, you guys didn't help. You didn't
Yeah.
help them do that. So,
Yeah. Looks like a cool game though. I like the art style and everything of it.
Yeah.
You have it on Steam, I'm guessing?
Yeah. Actually, I mean, I have it on Steam, but I bought it on, I think it's called GOG. PC
Okay.
gamers don't know what it is. It's a
Gotcha.
great site. Great site.
And that game is like roguelike, where when you die, it randomly generates the next rooms or something
Yeah.
like that.
Excuse me, lots of random generation in there. It reminds me of I think the game is called Bastion. I think that's what it's called. That's one that was on Xbox 360 and on PC. It's kind of got that like isometric type of downward like view to it, which really throws you off at first, and then after 10 minutes you're like, every game should be like this. Like, it doesn't even matter
Is that
what
like
it is.
Diablo
right?
2 type of angle, or
Kind of. Oh, Diablo. Gosh.
yeah?
I
they showed-
cannot wait for that remake. Oh
showed
my
that,
gosh,
yeah.
man. Oh, so excited. Sorry, I just had a Diablo-gasm. But yes, is that too much?
That's a thing? No.
But officially now.
Well, I mean,
But yeah, Hades,
Diablo.
great game, and yeah, I'm glad that it's getting out there to the masses, just for the developers, because you know you want to put your money into the guys that are making games for the love of it, instead of, all right, so what's up this year? We got to make Madden 10,000. What are we gonna do? Add another spin move, right, and update the roster. So
Yeah.
something like that. It's like, please give them the shine that they deserve. Yeah.
Yeah, all sports games should probably, and I love my sports games, but there's not really a place for them at E3. That's if they want to do their own thing, then here you go. But E3 is,
Yeah, I
it
agree.
needs to be for the, you know, I mean, the big titles to maybe drop the newer trailer, but I feel like they're doing that on their own now too, which you know, loops us back into that discussion of just separating things, and
Yeah.
it might be, hopefully it hangs on, but
I really
Sports
hope it
games
does,
are
man.
harder to show off than new features. It's more about feel of how your players control and everything, I think. So
Right.
yeah, they don't show off that well to me, besides showing the upgraded graphics. Besides that, you're just seeing guys run up and down the field.
There you go.
It's not until you play it that you
Lit-
really feel like, oh,
Yeah.
this is a better version of last year that I just paid $60 for.
literally just working on like physics and making sure that like feet don't go through chests and stuff during gameplay.
Right.
That's all they're mastering
Wow.
in like in a Madden anymore, right? Is like just
The clipping
when
artifacts.
when two bodies come together, do they
Right.
actually come together and react the way they should for that speed and momentum?
Hmm.
That's all they can do now, is just refine that to. the
They
T
could
and
just make everything
Wow.
look like Blitz.
I'm all for that, right?
Yeah.
And if you haven't noticed yet, Josh would probably be the sports game guy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, my version of sports games would be fighting. Even I mean the UFC games now are horrible, but I can attest to you don't want to jab through someone's face, in a realistic fight sim. That's okay if it's Mortal Kombat and you're killing the guy, right? But yeah, the clipping artifacts at this point is like that's happening, right? Like at this stage, that's happening. It's unacceptable, unacceptable. But I
don't see that too much anymore. But thank goodness. That used to drive me nuts.
I think that maybe, like Josh said, maybe that's something that's such a. I mean, in my opinion, it's kind of a niche thing. It's just sports. That can be to the wayside. As someone who doesn't necessarily like sports games,
you want to see at E3 the new stuff.
I want to see the new stuff,
ideas. Yeah,
and I mean, if we're being honest, the more if every E3 there's a new version of whatever this sports title is. It's like I don't want E3 to be full of sequels.
Yeah.
Right. And
very good point.
Right.
Yes.
And if it is a sequel. I mean, I always go back to this game, but if you think God of War, that was 2018 was the last God of War. So if you bring, if you debut God of War, then, sequel to that was 2018. It wasn't 2020 and now 2021, another God of War. And then 2022, another God. Like we don't do that in those type of games. Granted, I know there's a lot more that goes into those, but my point still stands.
Well, like, I don't play every single Call of Duty game, and I don't play every single sports game, but I like to hop in and play, one every now and then. And when they're released on a yearly basis like that, I get so lost. I can't remember, did I play this one? Did I not? I can't remember. So one of the things I like to do is when I look, you can see on your achievements on Xbox, did I earn any achievements? Okay, I haven't actually played this game because a lot of times they look exactly the same to me. Because I don't play every iteration of these games.
Right. I
so
can see that.
Get lost. Yeah.
I can see that.
I think that's too steamrolled to like, in a perfect world for sports games would be to go more, let's go on a 5-year clip with just DLCs and roster changes. That would be a lot better because like, I mean, how often, I'm not a dev. I don't know the, the ones and zeros on that. But like I said, like most of those games are talking about just making physics and all that stuff, like fine-tuning. I mean, even with the baseball games, I mean, they can't do that much from one year to the next until they have that next breakthrough. Right. And then that's what we want to see at E3, right? Blow my mind, man.
Right.
Like, show me something like where we're pushing the boundaries of graphics, gameplay, and, just outside the box, like how the game is, the mechanics of it that are being played. From Far Cry to like a first-person shooter like COD or Destiny or something like that. But I mean, you got to really impress these days. So
I think so.
Well, as far as
I think the showcase is needed more than ever.
Yeah, and as far as it being digital now, that actually doesn't bother me because we aren't gaming journalists. We aren't out there. You hear them talking about how they miss it because they were out there at the hotel drinking after each day and just having a blast.
For me.
It doesn't either way. I'm watching it from my computer.
Right.
So for me, the digital does not matter. I just wonder if the money that's being put towards the E3 name is worth spending. And I know Microsoft has said that they plan on supporting E3 for the future, but that money could be used to develop a game and do your own conference. I mean, Xbox posts videos up constantly on YouTube. Why can't they just do that for the conference and not have to join the E3? Or am I thinking of this wrong?
It's
That's
interesting,
still marketing, right?
Yeah, it's still marketing. It's
still
all
marketing
still marketing
money. It's marketing money, not money allocated to gaming. So I wouldn't say. I mean, unless.
But there's billions of dollars in marketing now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like when you see, I mean, I know these aren't apples to apples, but when you hear the marketing that certain films, that marketing budget, and then that film doesn't do well, right? And you're like, well, I guess there's no part 2 of that, right? Yeah. So marketing, there's millions and billions depending on what your brand is that goes into marketing. I agree though. I don't necessarily think by them cutting the marketing, and maybe that cut means we're not going to do 10 conventions, we'll do 5, doesn't mean that they're going to take whatever they saved there and then say, hey, Halo team, right? Like I know that you need more devs on your squad to get this accomplished in the time frame that we're putting out. So let's do that. Definitely companies like EA wouldn't do it. Right. Like we're actually going to take people from you. Right. Yeah. Churn it out. So.
Right. Realistically, they aren't taking that advertising budget and just moving it over to a developer. That's not what's going to happen.
Because the marketing department reality says, right? Reality, like, of the business is the marketing department is fighting for their budget just as much as everybody else is.
Right.
For that project.
Right.
So, I mean, and that's probably where the indies hurt the most.
But again, though, right? So is the ecosystem. You guys are fighting for your budget and you want to showcase the best thing possible. And the best way to do that is to get it in front of as many eyes as possible, right? So we know that the internet is a great way to do that. But there's something to be said about in person. It's the same reason why these companies during the pandemic that want to release movies digitally and not in the theater thought that they had a win doing that until theaters opened back up, right? When I went to see Quiet Place 2, which great, by the way, when I went to go see that place was packed and people are loving it because there's something to be said about the human experience.
Right. That reaction when you're sitting next to your friend and they're having the same reaction.
Exactly. There's something to be said about that. Like it's us doing our podcast like this, right? Yeah. Like we just happen to all know each other so we can interact and have the same reactions virtually, right? But if we're at a table, it would be a bit different.
Yeah. If this keeps going, it might have to go that way.
I'm all for it. I just don't want Josh in there.
Starbucks?
Yeah.
At the Starbucks, we'll just roll in there with all these cameras and mics.
Let's not do that, right? I don't want to. Yeah, I don't want to do that.
Oh, they're hip and cool. They're down for that. You bring.
Yeah, we'll go to Starbucks and we'll talk about Seaman like last episode.
Wow. That stings the nostrils.
We already have a history. We're 2 episodes in.
This is true, right? Everyone from the first one
announced a sequel at E3. It's crazy.
Missed opportunities abound.
Yeah.
All right. Like I was hoping to see a Left 4 Dead 3 and Seaman, but
Yeah. They let us down in that.
They let us down, man.
Well, speaking of which, Back 4 Blood.
Yeah.
I'm very excited for that game. Yes. I signed up for the beta when they first announced, and
so did
I did not get in.
Neither did I.
Oh.
And I thought I didn't get in because you did.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay.
I was blaming you for months now. I'm like,
Yeah. Well, it's my fault. But they just emailed me and said there's an open beta. Actually, there's an open beta coming out August 12th through 16th. So it's just a weekend. And then the release date of Back 4 Blood is October 12th.
Yeah.
2021. So
it was pushed back, right?
I think I'm just not going to even worry about the open beta unless I'm really bored that weekend.
Don't do it, man.
But
don't do it,
like I'll just save it for the release.
There you go.
Yeah.
Don't you feel like there's certain games that you want to be surprised at?
Yes. Yeah.
Right. And knowing the dev team, like I know them, knowing the team that's behind this, I feel comfortable going in blind.
Yeah, me too.
They've more than earned my money.
Huge Left 4 Dead fan, and even bigger Evolve fan, even though I was about the only Evolve fan.
No, man, I was with you. And we played together, and I was like, man, this is so fun for this week. And then week 2 came around, and I was like, feels like week 1, right? And then week 3 was like, I'm pretty sure this is deja vu to me.
Like, it is very much that game, but for some reason it kept me going. Like I wanted that same experience over and over in that game, and I loved it. I put in well over 1,000 hours on Xbox, and then I even purchased it on Steam as well.
Yes, I remember.
And put more hours into it on Steam.
Yes, I feel like you need an intervention of some sort, but
hold me back.
Yeah, your addiction has affected me in the following ways. It was interesting. Evolve had one of the best E3s.
Remember that giant statue?
Yes, that giant Goliath statue. You were like, "What is this?" Like, I would have loved to have just like walked, because you could walk underneath it, right, to get into like the play area. Like, oh man, dude, this is amazing. That is what E3 is about.
There you go.
But 3 weeks after I had the game, I was like, maybe this is
And I
what
think
false
that's what
advertising's
happened with
about.
everyone.
Yeah,
Not with
yeah.
me. I still, to this day, I have it installed on my Xbox Series X.
I have it installed on Steam still. I
Okay.
don't even know if you can get it anymore. I think that it's unavailable unless you still have
It's,
it.
yeah, I had a friend that was trying to download it and they were not able to.
It's wild, man. It's
Yeah.
wild, man. That's a
Yeah, because
whole
they shut the
other.
servers down and everything.
Yeah, once the
Oh,
servers are
okay.
gone, they were
Yeah.
like,
All you can play is versus bots or
mm,
invite a friend and then you can play each other, but you have to invite other people. There's no matchmaking anymore. There's no servers. So someone's hosting,
right,
you
right.
know.
Which isn't necessarily bad if you come from the era of, the PC world. I really started with PCs around 97,
Mhm.
97, 98, 99. And yeah, you have to host a LAN party, right? So when you come from that world, it's like, oh, that's not so bad, But this is also not 97, right? So I mean, that opens up a whole other conversation of digital only
Yeah.
as well, because if
Well, I
I,
mean, right now you ask one of your friends to join you on a game and you have to wait 15 minutes. That's horrible.
yeah, that's pretty bad.
But we used to have to get people together
Yep.
and actually meet in the same room.
Yeah. Right.
And
Which,
I just remember, yeah, half the people would show up, and so you're only playing, three players for
right.
a couple
Right.
hours before they get there. And
I mean, there's something to be said, like we were talking, with E3. Something to be said about in person
yeah,
versus online. I
hmm
love online gaming and all that stuff, but you lose a lot with it. Same thing with conventions. You lose a lot if it's not there. It's a tangible part of advertisement. And also, like, my heart goes out to everyone in those industries right now. I know that everyone's like, oh, it's cool, it's all virtual. Okay, there's a lot of people that are good people, that are hardworking people, that have earned the right and have, busted their butts to be able to pull off a live event, whether it's audio, video, lighting, all of it. The guys who roll the carpet out, everything. And when you're doing everything via, if you're an ass, or via the internet, you lose a lot of that. And those people,
yeah,
they lose work. So there's also that element of it. There's a human element to everything.
yeah. So I'm Back for Blood. It's basically Left 4 Dead 3.
Yeah, basically.
That Valve
Yeah.
owns the rights though to Left 4 Dead, so they couldn't do that. I love how they even left the 4 in the middle.
That's actually my favorite
This,
part.
yeah,
Because anyone who's a Left 4 Dead guy, the hand with the bite mark out of it, right?
yep,
And the this and the this and the, and I mean, it would be great to be able to say we've got 4 Left 4 Deads and now Back for Blood is a different animal, but whatever. Give me what you got.
yeah.
Give me
I
what you
think
got.
it'll be good.
Yeah.
And everyone that's played the beta that I've heard has loved it.
Oh,
Like loved it. So I haven't heard anything bad about it. So I'm excited for that one.
yeah, I've been reading about it. I haven't seen anything. I mean, there's people that are just, they live to crap on things. So,
Yeah, yeah.
Josh is one of them. But like
I'm
those
not
people who just kind all right. So the things that I'm looking for, and I'm gonna ask you guys like what you guys are looking for from it. What I love about Left 4 Dead 1 and 2, even when those games were brand new, it took not much to run it. Coming from the PC world, right? It
hmm
was like no one was upgrading their system to play Left 4 Dead when it came out. No one was upgrading their system to play Left 4 Dead 2 when it came out.
And it
And those
ran good.
games, it ran great,
Yeah,
and great looking games because the game itself is good,
yeah.
right? Like, everyone who's a PC guy knows Crisis, or AKA the upgrade game of the decade, right? Where if you wanted it to look this way, you better have the best of the best of the best of the best. And while I like the game, it's not the best game. Right? And then Crisis 2, they're like, well, I mean, the game's going to look just as beautiful, but I promise you won't need as much to run it. Left 4 Dead never had that problem. Valve knows computer games. They know how to give you the best experience without the highest specs. So I'm definitely looking forward to that.
Nice.
What'd you see at E3, Josh, that kind of caught your eye? Is there anything specific?
But the games there, like, I don't
Yeah.
know. Like I said, I've been more poking around. I was out of town during that time, so I didn't get to maybe watch as many of these trailers as I normally do. Sea of Thieves looks cool. I don't know how they got Disney. That's I'll leave that for you.
Yeah,
I
I don't
know
know how that happened.
I'll leave that for you. But the Disney thing was pretty cool to see. Other stuff that I saw. Oh, I don't think they did it at E3. This is a little off the mark, but like Mario Golf for me on Nintendo, like I think they're doing their own again. They're doing their own thing, which kind of sucks. That
Yeah.
couldn't see. I was like, oh, I was told that Nintendo was doing their own thing. I was expecting, like, well, okay, when's Nintendo showcase? They're like, oh no, they're doing their own thing. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
all
Yeah,
right,
is it
well,
Nintendo
so
Direct or is that
Yep.
the
That's what
is
it's
it
called.
Nintendo Direct? Is Mario Golf a sequel to a previous golf game, or is it a new
there's been a
thing?
Mario Golf since Nintendo.
Oh, okay.
And
So
Game Boy, and it's on
yes,
the
everything.
Virtual
Yeah.
Boy.
That's a game I can't say I've ever played. Any of the golf
It's
games?
very like
They good?
just
It's
They're
the
good?
only golf
Very-
game I
I
like.
mean, just like arcade
very
fun.
well, like 8-bit. You just hit the balls like
Yeah.
it's a stop and go meter, right?
Yep.
You start it.
The ball's
you
not
hit
even
it,
round.
and then you center, and then it's like blink, 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 blink.
Hey,
It's
man,
like,
it was
Oh,
fun.
rolling.
Yeah.
It's so cool though. Like actually, like some of the perspectives that the original Mario Golf games had, like the camera angles, were really good because they put him like behind the golfer, and
Right.
then you would have like an overhead shot where the ball was like bing, bing, bing.
That sound brought me back. That sound brought me back, man.
And now it's like this version coming out is talking about more like Mario Kart ish. If you
Okay.
will. It's going to be, and there's like, and there was so many, and I was, like I said, I know there was going to be so many different features, and I thought that was going to be in showcase, like on the main stage and show that one off, but, and they wanted to go do their own thing with, they're doing a Mario Rabbids thing too as well. I'm not even huge on Nintendo, but like,
Yeah.
I like to see it all, and circling back again, it's like it's all in one place for everybody to see.
Right.
You just like I feel like E3 now is like I'll log in for my little blurb anyway, and then I know everybody's going to do all the best stuff outside of that.
Yeah.
So,
Well, that game
Um,
sounds kind of cool because I do like to hop on the Switch with my wife, and we like Mario Party, Mario Kart, those kind of party games. So it kind of sounds like something that I would like.
yeah,
I think
definitely.
so.
Yeah,
think so.
definitely. That one specifically. But then getting back to, and I mainly just watched like Microsoft stuff, like the Hades. I really like that. Bring that one up again, and then Horizon. Right. I've played a few of those.
Forza
I
Horizon,
didn't-
yeah.
I haven't played all of them, but I played a few. I don't know. That just the realism is so real. And
Yeah.
I know that's more like that's not gameplay trailer. That one I don't think.
That
Right?
one was
That was
captured.
I thought that was
Yeah.
gameplay. Yeah.
That was
Was it
captured
gameplay?
in game. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's like when you see it that way though, it's still like going to watch your race after in
Right.
video capture mode. It's not your
Yeah.
experience when you're like driving. So
It could
like,
be.
there's still
I mean,
a little
it's
bit
definitely a little deceiving because you see all the other players driving around. They're not hitting each other. The experience online is so different on those games where people are just trying to ram you. People aren't being nice to each other. It's a whole different ball game when you're actually online.
I mean,
Come
couldn't that have
play
been
F1.
single player footage though?
Yeah. Yeah,
That's the-
and
you know what I'm
that's and
saying?
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I'm saying like that footage though is in like photo mode of the game.
Right.
So you're gonna get those close ups and those lighting angles.
Oh, okay, I see.
For
I
that
see what you're saying.
trailer.
Yeah.
But when I'm playing racing game,
Mm.
like I'm third person.
Right.
Camera's
I don't-
fixed behind the car.
I don't
it's
see.
not floating around.
I don't. Yeah,
Gotcha.
I don't see that good glossy like lighting and stuff come off. Now I'm sure it's amazing because the last couple I've played were very visually pleasing, and it's all about like the cars and the drivability. But
Mhm.
Well, you know what's it's interesting about that? I'm not a big racing game guy unless it's arcadey racing, right? Like Midnight Club, like Burnout Paradise, those type of games.
okay,
I've played a few of the Need for Speeds, and that third person view, you get to see, when it's raining, you get to see the weather effects on the vehicle. So when I saw that same trailer, I thought that could absolutely, be actual game footage.
Yeah.
I think that it could be. I don't know if we'll ever reach that stage where the CG trailer is what the actual game looks like. I know we're all waiting for that, right?
Yeah.
We've been waiting for that forever. It's never gonna happen, I don't think. But I think that was probably one of the better looking games out of the entire E3.
Agreed.
That looked phenomenal. And again, I'm not even a racing game guy or an Xbox guy. I'm like, I want that right there.
Yeah, yeah. I am a racing game guy. I like. I used to be big into Gran Turismo when I was on PlayStation. Love Gran Turismo. I was just playing it on PlayStation 4 at a friend's house the other day, and I still love that game. But then when Forza came out on Xbox, I was like, oh, this is the one I really like. And I like Forza Motorsport better than Horizon because it's more simulation. I like the realistic. Like if you're going too fast and you don't hit the brakes in time, you're going into the wall and you're going to lose the race. It's not. It is a little punishing in that way.
I was just about to say that. I like that.
It's like so.
I love that.
Horizon is more Need for Speed, and then Motorsport to me would be like I don't know, Jacob.
It'd be a Gran Turismo.
Have you played the F1 games?
Yes.
So you play the F1 games,
like
you put on the career mode and you go damage, like you hit the wall, your front wheel comes off, race is over, you got to go to the next one.
Yeah.
Like you can't.
Nah.
But that's more realism and like
you can
better have a
adjust
wheel.
all that, like how much damage you want, how realistic you want. There's a lot of different options in Forza. That's what I like too. You can make the AI that you're playing against harder, but then you can. Do you want anti-lock brake system turned on or off? Do you want the traction control turned on or off? Do you want damage to your car? All those things are just options, and I like that I can customize my difficulty. And I just really dig the motorsport game. And I know they showed it last year, just a trailer for it, but that one's probably not going to come out, I'm guessing, for a year or two. But I'm excited to play a Horizon because I'll play through that. That one is a little more. It's open world, a little more arcade-ish. It's not as arcade-ish probably as Burnout and stuff, but it is more leaning towards like a Need for Speed. But the graphics are just amazing.
Yeah.
So let me ask you both, since you're both racing game guys. I'm more of a Mario Kart guy. Nothing wrong with a kart
Can't
racer.
shoot turtles out on Horizon 5.
You're losing me then.
Yeah, sorry, man.
So, do you think the graphical fidelity is the upgrade that you're really looking for most to make it look as realistic as possible, or do you think that it's the handability of the vehicles? Because in my mind, there's only so much of that you can actually tweak. Right, unless you are a person who has built your own rig, you know what I'm saying, where it handles like it probably should. You got the pedals and everything like that. But when you're you're playing on a gamepad, right? So playing on a gamepad, how realistic is it? So because of that, what is actually what's important in a game like that? Right? I mean, that can be said of any game. Like I don't feel like I'm actually getting punched when I play Street Fighter, right? But that's a different beast. It's not made to be realistic, and something that's supposed to be simulation-esque. What's the most
well, I mean,
important
it kind
thing?
of goes back to the sports things, the upgrades with each sequel to that. What do you guys think? Is it a bigger jump for a racing game than it is a sports game? Because it's kind of the same, like where you want it to control well, you want the graphics to be better, and then besides that, what are you doing? You're still just racing around on streets.
The difference is, though, we all right now could go out and play football, right? So we know what that's like. We're probably not hopping in, a car, and you know what I'm saying? So we're all kind of going off of what we assume to be this feels right. And you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, man, I hate the way this car turns.
I think
Do you? Right? Like, what don't you like?
The only really way to get to that conclusion is if you do have the rig. I mean, because if you're talking pinnacle control and feel, some of those rigs have big force feedback steering wheels, so you'd have to have all that. I think with most of the games, you can only get so real if you're on a gamepad.
That's my point.
So
That's my point.
so that's where Jacob was talking about like the different settings he can go in there, so he can have more auto assists on, just in general to bridge the gap between a force feedback steering wheel and a gamepad. So, and then I think if you're on the gamepad side of it, you want it to look good as much as possible.
Okay.
Your enjoyment level, because you don't have enjoyment level of the realism of feel of the car anyway.
Right.
Like you're gonna have a little bit, right? I mean, even in the worst driving games we've ever had, you like, even if it gets squirrely, you can kind of start to feel that in your joystick and your sensitivities. But
Yeah, I used to feel that in Excite Bike.
right.
No joke, I was playing that just the other day on the Switch.
And you are a good man, okay? Just based
no
on that alone, not anything else, not how you
was
treat your
actually still fun,
family,
too.
none of it.
Yeah, I
right?
know.
None
Yeah.
of that. Excite Bike. So a really good friend of mine, shout out to Lord Monkus, because I'm going to send this to you. He's way into sim racing, where he
Nice.
sends me like the upgrades that he's doing, like the steering pieces, the steering column, like
Yeah.
every single thing is. And I'm looking at the prices of this, like, oh my gosh, man, like.
What is he
It-
running on that then? Like,
So-
is he playing Forza or is he playing a different
iRacing?
simulation?
So he's a PC guy.
So he's
Okay.
iRacing. Is it iRacing, or there's another one? I know there's.
I don't want to
a couple of them.
misspeak, but I mean, he's shown me some of the stuff, some of the games, and man, obviously it's all first person because he's got a rig and
Yes.
the pedals and every. I mean,
Yes.
I'm blown away by that. Just as someone who likes to specialize in a thing, like in my professional career, like I want to specialize in something. So when I see someone that's way into a genre of game like that, that's one thing that I think is so awesome about gaming, just in general. If you are if you're a flight sim guy, you're going to have the whole thing. You're going to have what is it, the yoke and the yaw, I think it's called. Like all of those things are so important to you. Where if you're not, and you're like me, and you're using a mouse and keyboard, and you're like, yeah, that was awesome. Those guys are like, what are you talking about, dude? That's the worst way to play that, right?
You just steered a 747 with a mouse.
With your mouse, right?
Yeah. Wow.
And I'm like, oh, I got to turn around real
arrow
quick, and
keys.
I'm like, whip, and they're like, what are you doing? Like, dude, you would dislocate your body if you did that in real life. I'm like, oh, it worked. What are you talking about? Like the VR Star Wars game, the one where you're actually flying Quadrants. So thank you. I have been wanting to get that for my VR for a while. And I'm like, but I don't want to play with a gamepad.
Right.
Mainly because if I'm doing first person and I'm playing with a gamepad, I'll get sick. So there's that. I could do it with a mouse and keyboard, but I kind of feel like an idiot, I guess, like sitting with the whole headset on and, in the chair with it's too much going on.
You're right.
Trying to
You
find
look
all
like
the
an idiot.
keys.
That's all you caught, right? I just feel like what is, I don't want to, be like this.
Like Jordy.
Exactly. So I just feel like it's kind of goofy. But I can guarantee in that headset, if I had the controls for it, there's the realism. And that's something that I love about, our hobby of video games.
Yeah, you can go down that rabbit hole and just keep going.
Yeah.
That's like one thing about building a PC, right? You can just keep it going.
Sure can.
And when you're done with what you think is your last part, the first part you put in, you find an upgrade, and then you can swap it out. It's like a cycle.
And I mean, not to pull away from our E3 conversation, but it's funny. I was talking to a guy recently who was talking about cars, and he's way into cars, and he's like, yeah, you don't think that's cool because my car does this and it's got that and it's got. And I'm like, bro, like another man built that, right? Like I know you think it's cool, and I'm not saying it's not, but like you didn't do it. But when I think about my PC, I'm like, no, I did all that. Now, I didn't build the components, but I put this together. I programmed this. Josh, you understand what I'm talking about. He kind of remembers, right? He remembers a little bit of it, but so yeah, not to get off on that tangent, but that's definitely with gaming just in general.
Yeah, it adds to the excitement when you put that game in and it looks so good
I'm
because
telling
you
because of
put
you, right?
that video card in. And
I agree both ways, except if you put 400 more horsepower into the STI or the Corvette, I'd be happy. I don't care who put it.
you wouldn't mind?
That would be a blast.
I think
So.
I think it would be awesome. But you know what? As long as when we're talking about it, you're like, yeah, those guys put this in there. Not like, guess what I got, bro. Like, get outta
I
here.
would.
Come on,
they
man.
would. I would have their performance label across the
That's all I'm
windshield of the car.
That's all I'm
So,
saying,
there
right?
you go.
Yeah. Alienware.
It'd be kind of silly to put on
Subaru.
your PC.
Yeah, don't do it on your PC, man. But that's actually a good idea. I'm looking at mine right now.
PC was sponsored by Pennzoil. Cool it down. I got Pennzoil coolers in here.
Hey, you can
Thanks,
have
guys. Shout out.
you can have a racing coolant in your radiator. So do whatever you want to do, man. Can't do that with that Xbox. Just saying, bro.
Yeah, I know. Man, they need to
Maybe you
step
can.
up
I
their
don't
game.
know. Yeah, step your game up, man. So, one game that I did think was awesome at E3, and this is not even a game that I would probably play. And yes, this is just the trailer. The Elden Ring trailer.
Yeah.
That was good, man.
Because that
was good.
does look like a Souls game.
It
to me.
does.
Is it?
I don't want to misspeak on it and have people in the
it
comments
almost
kill
looks
us. but-
like it almost looks like that type of like they're going for the you got to dodge at the dodge and hit
Right.
at the right time and everything like that. And so yeah, for me it's the same thing. I like watching and reading the reviews on games that I'm not even going to play,
Right, yeah, I
because I
probably won't
know
play.
I won't enjoy it because I'll get stomped out.
yeah,
I'll
yeah.
be that Viking on Valheim that's naked because I keep dying.
Like, there's a naked game in our game. There's a naked guy in our game. He's just, I don't know what's
Yeah.
wrong. Does he keep dying or does he not want to put his clothes on? I don't understand what's going on.
Yeah.
That's definitely
But
one
I
of
agree.
those.
Elden Ring looked really
Looked
pretty
really
and really
good, man.
cool.
Look
Yeah.
really good. And I like games that have lore like that, you know? Like that'll draw you in where you care about this specific character's background, or this race of characters, these elves or these dwarves or whatever. Like I think that type of stuff is cool. Big
Like a lore guy.
yeah, I mean lore it's important, obviously, and not so much in multiplayer games. But yeah, I'm a big fan of that. I think it'd be cool.
Yeah, I agree. I thought it looked pretty cool. Starfield's another game by Bethesda that everyone's hyped about online, but hadn't seen anything on it. Just knowing that it came from the people of Fallout and Skyrim, I guess,
Yeah.
kind of like how we are with Back 4 Blood. You kind of know that it's going to be something you like. I'm not a huge Fallout or Skyrim person.
Yeah, I'm not
I do-
either.
I wasn't either.
Okay, yeah, I like the stories in them, and I like the idea. But when I actually
lore
play
behind
it,
it, right.
the lore, I really like that stuff.
Right.
What I don't like is just the controls necessarily, and the time it takes to play the game.
Right.
They're very long games and stuff like that. So, Starfield though, I did really like the graphics. I think those graphics were at least in engine. I don't know if that was in game.
I don't think
I
it was.
could be wrong. You think it was just in engine?
Yeah, and to
It
be
looked
honest,
really good.
Like I'm super weary of that stuff now. I mean, we talked about it, a couple
Yeah.
minutes ago, but I'm super weary of that just because of games like the Division.
Yeah. Oh,
Right?
totally.
We were blown away at their E3, and then we got the game, and I'm like, so is this like the
I was
alpha?
very upset. Yeah.
like-
Which stage are we in now?
Right?
Yeah, is
like,
this
did I
like
get the
a
one alpha copy that slipped through?
Yeah. Why
I mean-
did I just pay for this beta? I
Yeah.
don't understand.
And-
I
mean,
totally
it's
agree.
That's a whole
because-
tangent you can get off on with that.
But yeah, totally, I agree.
Played that game for way too long.
Yeah, or it'll say
Yeah.
in game, but they don't tell you whether that's on a console or if it's on a high-end PC. Because
Exactly.
then that's deceiving to all those console players that are hoping it looks like that.
Right. I mean, if you run a game at 120 hertz, on a OLED, with
Yeah.
black levels that aren't crushed, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like if you run a game like that, and that's where you're capturing your footage from, and you put that out to the public, and everyone's like, "Dude, I'm on that stat," and you
They
get
go
that
put it
game-
on their Westinghouse,
exactly, right?
28-inch.
to 720p, right?
Yeah.
Now, granted, that might be the person's problem, right? But still, though, I feel like our industry is the only industry where it's now commonly accepted that you are going to get an unfinished product, and we allow them to finish it later.
Yeah.
Like, seriously,
Yep.
think about, like, imagine going, I don't know, to go and watch the last Avengers movie, and they haven't green screened anything, but they're like, hey, when we release this on Blu-ray, we'll have everything in.
Yeah, you'll get to
Yeah.
see it.
Right? And you're like, that's
Yeah.
cool. Like, you
Hulk
would
will
never
be there
accept
on
that.
on the disc. He'll be
Right.
there.
But for right now,
You don't
it's a
see
tennis
him
ball.
now.
Right? It's just a tennis ball on a string. All right. But when you get it home, you're going to be like, whoa, Hulk looks awesome. But right now, just imagine it. Like, we're the only industry where that's allowed.
Well, I specifically
That's a good
remember
point.
you providing me with it was one of the Wolverine movies or something, and it was like that.
Yeah. And you're like, hold on a second.
And I did see the movie like
What's
a year
supposed to
before
happen,
it came
right?
out.
Like, what's supposed to happen right now? I can't wait
Yeah.
to see what it's supposed to be.
Man, I wonder what that is chasing them.
Right. And then you
It's
see it
gotta
for real,
be
and you're like,
frightening.
oh, it's just
Oh, man.
it's just this Wolverine and Sabretooth scene. Who'd have knew?
Yeah. They had to
And speaking of
CGI
that
him
movie,
because he can't
the
really
movie's
run.
so bad, dude. It was just Wolverine and Sabretooth slow-mo growling at each other for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Like, what is this, dude? Horrible movie. Don't bootleg stuff, guys.
Yeah, it's bad.
Unless I'm doing it.
If you want to be a pirate, play Sea of Thieves.
Oh,
There you go.
nice segue.
Yeah, and then
So
you
I think he was.
Disney.
I think he was saving this one for the last. I think
Oh.
chew on this one for a little bit. Go ahead, take it away.
Okay,
bud.
so as of recording now, I haven't played the Disney update. It comes out tomorrow, but I am going to play through it and let you guys know more. But just, I am very excited because I'm a huge Sea of Thieves guy. I put in a lot of hours with my crew on that game, and I'm just very excited for more Tall Tales. And at first, I thought it was a little strange to mix in, something from Disney. I mean, obviously they fit together. They're kind of similar in tone and everything, but
Right.
it's still a little strange to have Jack Sparrow and all this in that game.
Dude, I'm all about Jack
But
Sparrow, bro.
Well, after, we started rewatching the movies just to,
Okay.
to get into it. Yeah.
Nice.
I do have to say, though, that after watching that trailer, I'm super hyped.
Nice.
Because on Sea of Thieves, what we've had is just skeletons to battle. They've
right.
added variants and stuff like that, but you're only battling skeletons and sharks, really.
Well, the
Now-
sharks will get you, man.
Oh, they'll get you. Yeah, I specifically remember us swimming up to the ladder, and Jason had to jump up, and the shark, I believe the shark bit him off the ladder.
Yeah, it did. I used to be part of his crew, but I'm dead. I'm just
I
dead.
looked down into the water, and you just see the shark.
Yeah, this guy took a photo of me getting eaten and sent it to me. It's pretty awesome.
I was like, sorry, bro.
He's that good at the game. He has the time to take snapshots of you.
Yeah,
I did.
This-
this,
I, like,
this guy's like
literally did.
jousting and he's got a camera. He's like, hold on, bro.
Oh, I used
Horrible.
a physical camera.
Right.
But this adds different enemy types and
That's
all
cool.
kinds of stuff. So like sirens in the water and some kind of crustacean guys that come out.
another boss, right? I saw.
There's
a
like
bunch of stuff.
big boss battles and like
Nice.
ghostly pirates that walk around that look like the ghosts from Pirates of the Caribbean ride at Disneyland kind of feel to it. And a lot of these tall tales I saw have those sounds that you hear in the ride. The actual recordings are in there, and
That's
you're walking
awesome.
through, and you hear the dead men tell no tales kind of thing going and
Nice.
stuff.
Oh,
So it's gonna play on your.
That's that Disney license for you.
Yeah.
All right.
Hey, if they're doing stuff like that, that's where it's got me like super interested. Going to Disney, like we live there, so that's like our little vacation spot. And doing that and eating at that restaurant, we talked about that before. Before
So the
COVID,
restaurant
but-
where you go through the swamp
Yeah.
and there's that old like cabin in the
Yep.
swamp, right, with the guy on the rocking chair and stuff. That's in this game. This is in Sea of Thieves.
Man,
yeah.
I might have to stop. Wait, is that free or do we have to pay for
It's
that?
free. Yep.
So I
So-
can hop in
Oh, wow.
and do the Jack
Yeah.
Sparrow storyline
Yeah.
right now.
If you
okay.
own Sea of Thieves,
Nice.
it's free. If you
Yeah.
have Game Pass for PC or Xbox, you can download Sea of Thieves and it'll be the free update.
I might have to do that for my nephew. He wants to play
I-
that game
what-
so bad, man.
Yeah.
Well, I have the
Uh,
game. I
It,
don't know.
it
Game Pass seems like it's getting more and more worth it. I wasn't down for that for a while, but I don't know. Like at E3, right?
it's so
This is all
so
Game
worth
Pass
it.
stuff, right?
Yeah,
yeah,
I
I think
think
everything they did
like
was Game Pass.
28 of the games were going straight to Game Pass. I mean, a
Yep.
lot of these are like so Back for Blood is on Game Pass day one.
Oh
And that's not
wow,
a Microsoft game. They just made a deal with them. But all the
wow.
games that Bethesda owns and Microsoft owns are all Game Pass day one games, and they'll be on there forever. So like your Starfield, your Halo, your Forza, your Redfall, all that's going to be on,
Wow. I mean, that says a lot about the infinite money
right?
that Microsoft has, because you've got to imagine they're losing money doing that,
Yeah, have to.
But
I guess it's an investment for the future type, you know.
yeah,
They lose money on the console itself, on the hardware. They have to be losing money at this point, spending $7.5 billion on Bethesda
right,
and not seeing that money back yet. I
right.
mean, I
Well,
think it'll get them their money in the future. I think it's working out. I mean, think about Netflix and when it started, we would have never guessed it is what it is now.
no,
And I think
we
that's
wouldn't.
where they're hoping Game Pass will go. I think that's what they're
Right.
hoping.
We wouldn't, but I also think though there was so many different contributing factors to
Yeah.
like Netflix, and just streaming services taking off. I don't
Hmm.
honestly, I don't see the uptick of the purchase of the company and then basically giving these games away for free. As long as you pay, what is it, $14 or something like that a
Yeah.
month. I don't see,
14.99 a month.
yeah, I don't see how you get your money back with that. Just I don't even think that company makes like the type of games that generate money like that. Like I could see if it was Rockstar. Rockstar just based off of the last Grand Theft Auto that's been out for I don't know 8 years, 9 years, or something like that, and that game generates so much money per year. I understand that, right? Because that's an
Yeah.
investment that you immediately getting your money back from. I don't understand where they're getting the uptick. I don't see
They're
the
making
uptick.
it work.
They are.
So if Sony did the same thing for their console, where I could go and get a Game Pass that's from Sony, and I could buy the digital version of the PS5,
Mm,
and I could go experience all the God of Wars in one's place,
right.
all the, all those first party games that they have that I didn't necessarily get to play all the way through, all the Uncharted's
Right.
and all that. I would so pay a monthly fee to hop over and just play through all their games. I'm hoping that a lot of Sony players do that with Xbox. Just buy the Series S, pay your $15 a month, and you get to try everything that maybe
There's.
they have missed out on.
I thought that would have been a cool idea, but I mean, you guys know I'm against digital versus physical,
Right.
right? And I've
Hmm.
said this before. I don't know if I said it on the first podcast, but if I pay for whatever it is, I want it forever. I've got systems right now that have digital software on them that I can't do anything with. And I guess it's great that on your online store, you're like, hey, in case you missed this game, you can download it for your PS4 or for your PS5. Well, I didn't miss the game. I purchased the game and I
Right.
can't play it. I'd have to repurchase it. I'm good on that. I'm good on that. So when I think about getting a digital only system, unless unless the entire library is opened up, I to me it's so restricting.
Right.
You
When does
know,
that run out? When is those games? How long are they going to be available on Game Pass? When does that?
So from what I understand, the first party games probably aren't going away. So you got all the Gears of War on there right now. You have all the Halos. They have most of the Forzas and stuff. And they're slowly bringing back old games into there too, from the original Xbox and the 360. They're slowly feeding that in there. But games that are like Back for Blood, there's a good chance that that's just a contract for a certain amount of time, maybe 6 months or something. And then it'll fall off like Netflix. Like,
Yeah.
so a Netflix original is going to be on Netflix, like probably forever, right?
right.
Something they made. But, you know, Batman or something that they didn't make is probably on a contract and it'll fall off at some point, and they'll
Right.
try and sell it to another streaming service.
Yeah, I'm sure it's something like that. It's got to be something like that.
It has to, yeah.
Even though, again, I'm sure they have enough money to have infinite servers out there, right? So that they can have their entire library of games. And being realistic, there's not that many iterations of Xbox. I know it seems
Right.
like it, but there's not, right?
Yeah.
So it's not like the PS2 that had something crazy like 7,000 titles released. So you guys don't have that many titles. You could put your entire library on there.
I know.
And I mean, just all your first party stuff, even. You could put every bit of that on there. There were definitely games like on the first Xbox that I would love to play again, but I don't want to buy it again if I've already purchased it.
Right.
That's the thing. I'm not with
Yes.
that. Not with
Against that, yeah.
That's
and-
hard.
And again, as a PC guy, every single game I've ever purchased on Steam is there. I can play it on any computer that I run to.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, until they start doing that, you're not going to get me with a digital only system. I understand the cost differential, and that's intriguing, but I'm not going to do that.
Too intermittent with my games and don't see them all the way through to pay a subscription, and then and me personally, this is probably a lot of people, is if you do the math on the pass, right? It's like a new game, a brand new release or whatever each quarter. And so if you're buying more than 4 games a year, then maybe it's for you. But if you're more of like, I'm going to play one game, kind of play it through and then be done, I don't want it to be gone. I don't want it to be gone because I'm a procrastinator on the game necessarily.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
That's a great way of saying it too, because I just opened my Jedi Outcast, maybe it's called
Fallen Order? Or?
Fallen Order. I just opened that. Thanks. A month ago, I bought it the beginning of last year.
Right.
Right. So
It is a fun game.
it's great, right?
Jason has a history of his physical. He'll keep it. He won't open it. It's still wrapped in the plastic.
Yes,
still
sir.
Says, still says GameStop on it. Yeah.
Hey.
Just in case.
But that right there is true though. Like yes, I get excited about a game and I'll buy it and I'm like, yeah, let's go. Like I have Outriders right now. I haven't opened it. I'm going to play it, but I haven't opened it yet, right? Because I want to finish a couple other games. I already bought it.
Can't really sell it at this point either. I don't
At
know
this
if anybody
point,
wants that one.
no.
We'll go beyond that though. That's another conversation.
Not at all. Go back to GameStop. They're like, ooh, where'd you get that
50
from?
cents.
You can keep that one.
Best I can do.
Yeah, we're only
Best I
reselling
can
it for
do-
50. So,
Best I can do is just take it.
but you know what though? Hey, give me a co-op game, even if it's as long as we can play it together, I'm all for it. Unless it's Anthem.
Oh my gosh.
I feel like that might be your fault, Jake. Yeah,
was.
it was you. Okay, I've been
It was
blaming
my
the wrong
fault.
guy about this forever, by the way. He's
Glad.
not on the
No, you can
podcast
keep-
right now.
But you could keep blaming him.
Okay. I thought I could have sworn it was him,
It's
but
more
it's
fun.
you.
It was me.
God, that game looks so nice
It was Jake.
too. Yeah, it was.
It was Jake and Kyle. Kyle was saying it too,
Yes,
so
that's the guy. That's the guy.
call it that.
Hey, but I'm
Call
gonna
that
tell you
guy
though,
out.
it was easily the
He's not here
best
to defend
Iron Man simulator I've ever played.
Hey, yeah,
Right? Like
I know.
the
That was a
flying-
game that just had so much potential and
It
blew
did,
it
man. And
so hard.
you know what? I think if we weren't all aware that it was in development for like 6 years, and you put it in,
we'd
you're
give
like,
them a pass a little bit, like, oh,
yeah. If this was
he
like
only
an
had
indie,
6 months to whip this out. Yeah, one guy developed this by himself.
right? In a basement
No,
with no power,
yeah,
It was
like
four,
no,
that was Valheim. It was like 4 or 5 people.
yeah.
completely different, huh?
It did 1 million like day one on Steam or something,
Yeah, I know a lot of guys that play that.
or week one or
Yeah,
like that. It was like
completely
4 guys
different.
got a $10 beta I don't even. I think they still call it an alpha. I don't even know if it's beta, but it was like a $10 alpha.
I think it is.
Four or
still an
five
alpha.
guys. 4 or 5 guys just made that in their basement, and week one they had over 1 million downloads.
That's wild, man.
Cha-ching! $10
Yeah, right?
a piece, boys! Oh my god!
That's wild. And then
Here's 500. Here's 500. Okay.
and
What do you want to do now?
Those guys are probably hoping that they will get purchased by a bigger developer to get them like the resources, right? And then that developer ends up being EA, and then they'll shut them down.
Oh no!
very optimistic.
You see how I did that? I just crushed your dreams.
Yeah,
I've been
wow.
waiting to do that.
I was with you,
Whew,
and then
felt great.
wow,
Is that what
man.
power feels like? That was awesome, man.
Yep.
Feelings legitimately hurt.
So, Jake, I know you're a Halo guy.
Yeah.
Did the Halo Infinite, did that look good to you? Yeah, a lot of blinking right there.
That
Yeah,
was
I'm
a
trying to
long
think.
Uh-oh. He was like,
That was a hard pause.
Yeah,
Hard
sorry, I had a
pause.
seizure. I had a mini
yeah,
stroke.
what just
Sorry.
happened right there?
No,
much.
I gotta say, I do believe that the game's going to be fun, and I'm going to enjoy playing through it co-op with my friends. I always have loved the campaigns on Halo and the co-op part of it, and all jumping in a warthog together, going through these levels, as they're collapsing and you're shooting and stuff. It's so exciting. And Halo has like the best first-person shooter control, in my opinion. That's what I've always liked about Halo. It's so smooth and nice. I mean,
Okay.
there's other, games that have come out since that have really stepped up their game to be pretty good too. But I've always liked the Halo controls and everything like that. That being said, I'm not impressed with the graphics. They've had like a
waiting.
year delay to work on it, and I'm
Right.
still not impressed with those graphics. I know some people might be, or be, oh, well, it's an open world, or, they're doing what they can. I'm still disappointed in those graphics. Like Forza Horizon is whipped out those graphics and showed what the Series X could do.
Right.
Halo has not done that still.
And Halo is like their flagship.
Right? That's
Right.
the one that should have blown our
That's
mind.
weird.
And
That's weird
it
to me.
has not.
Right.
And it's just really sad to me. I hate that games go, you know what? It's a bigger world now. It's open world. So it's a better game, right? No, it's not.
No.
I want it to be, I want the campaign to be focused on what it's doing at the moment, not, oh, well, you can walk anywhere you want. Well, now the graphics take a,
Oh, they take a big hit.
take a hit
Yeah.
because
The
now
bar
you're
set so high.
Yeah.
The bar set so high now.
Right.
It's hard to unsee what we've seen.
yeah. Oh yeah. That's burned
Right?
in there.
That's a good way of putting it. I've seen
The
what
first
it's
showing was
capable of.
real rough. This E3 was better. There wasn't like all the pop-ins and the texture popping in out there, and the
Right.
view distance was good and things like that. It looks like it's running well. It looks like it's gonna be fun and everything. I just really had hoped that it was something that I could look at and just be like, wow, that's so pretty. I just replayed through Halo 5 not that long ago, and I feel like that was a prettier game than this one is showing off.
Well,
And if you're showing off a trailer like Forza Horizon, they're showing it off as best as they can, right?
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah.
Halo isn't showing me anything that's like, hey, it's nice looking, right? It's like, cool, I want to play as Master Chief. I want to play through the game. I know it's probably good that they're trying to focus more on showing people the story and everything, because that's what's really going to matter at the end of the day. But as far as everything else, I'm not super hyped for it. Let me just say that.
I wonder if it's more gunplay, like you said, because it's such a foundation of where Halo was. Like I'm more like again on the Destiny side of like, but I think like
Right,
Bungie had Halo originally, and now they don't have that anymore. However, that was sold, lawyers, business, whatever. But maybe that's a bigger part of where they're going with the game, and not as much time is spent on textures and lighting and that. And it could be just knock our pants off with the gun game and the feel and that connectivity you have or need in first person shooters, with the saturation of high level first person shooters now, right? I mean,
Yeah.
now you got like COD. It's like TTK is not great in the game overall if you play it a lot like Warzone, but the gunplay and the
Great.
movement
It's great.
is that's kind of where we're at now. That's the level it
Apex
needs
Legends.
to be. Apex is the same.
Controls
that
awesome.
that gun feel and that gameplay, even abilities, whatever. There's a bar that's set, and now, but then you naming those two games,
Well,
aesthetically pleasing. They're a lot, a lot better than what Halo's coming out with. I mean, let's go play Apex or COD, and that's a BR with all that graphics, not a story mode.
let me ask you guys something then, just listening to this conversation. So this is a question around graphics and flagship titles. Okay. So When you think Nintendo, you think Mario, right? Or Zelda. Those are the two flagship titles. There are other, Castlevania, Metroid, things like that. But those are the two. Those are the babies, right? Where it takes forever for them to bring one out, and when it comes out, you're like, okay, right? Xbox to me would be Halo. That's kind of the thing, and then Forza. I think
Yeah.
like that's
And I would
they're
say
racing
Gears.
it. Yeah, I guess Gears, but Gears wasn't like
Gears.
that didn't come out with the system though,
No, you're right.
right?
You're right.
And to be honest, it'd probably be Halo and Fable, but Fable
Right.
just didn't. It fell away.
Yeah.
When you think PlayStation, I don't have one, and I think that that's a good thing.
Tomb Raider.
Tomb Raider was everywhere. Tomb Raider.
I
was
know,
on it.
but I do think of Tomb Raider and like Banjo-Kazooie just
Yeah.
because I played them on there, but
Well,
I don't
Banjo-Kazooie
necessarily.
is,
It's on
Nintendo.
Xbox and stuff now too. You can, yeah.
Right, but it's only on Xbox because I believe that was a rare
Or no,
game.
sorry, not Banjo-Kazooie. I'm thinking
You meant
Crash.
Crash Bandicoot.
Crash
Yeah.
Bandicoot.
But this is what
You
I'm
can get
saying
that
though.
on.
I
Yeah,
think so.
no.
Is it a bad thing to have the one thing that's associated with your system? Because
Probably.
if you don't, right, like we're talking about Halo right now, if you don't come out the gates
Yep.
guns blazing and show that, hey, this is our baby and look what we're doing with it, then people are like, what are you doing with it?
People
Right?
are going to
Like,
be very. There's going to be more disappointed people in Halo than happy. I feel like.
okay,
I don't
from
think-
what I saw in
I
that
think they've
trailer, I
already
was
lost
like,
the battle.
Yeah.
They've already lost that battle.
so a
Before
part
it
of
even
it,
begins.
a part of it is the saturation of the market of first-person shooters, right? But
Yeah.
I also believe that there isn't a first-person shooter that's like Halo, and because there isn't, when I saw that trailer, I was like, what would make me care about this other than being a guy who's like, well, I've played them all, and this is the newest
Nostalgia.
one. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
just nostalgia.
Right. So that's my question. Do you think that it is a detriment to a developer? I guess secondary, but a system more specifically to have a flagship title. Because again, there are big titles on PlayStation, of course, right? But out the gate, there is no game that's like that's what I associate out the gate with PlayStation. And with
Yeah.
Nintendo, like I said, imagine there being a real crappy Mario game. I've never seen one. Right? Now
It
I
definitely
didn't think
sets yourself up for
right.
a bigger fall,
Right.
Because people's expectations are so much higher on
Because you pour all your
I buy
resources into
Xbox
that.
for Halo.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
So, like Breath of the Wild, I may be in the minority here. I didn't really like that game. Like,
I know a lot of people liked it. I haven't tried it.
Didn't play it. Wife played it.
Hmm.
Destroyed it. Did everything in the guidebook, and then went and did the final boss, and was like, "Hack, you're dead." Oh shit.
that's the other part, right? Where people are like, dude, you can actually fight the final boss when you start the game. They just kind of start out and find him and fight. Like, I don't know. I'm also not into the, I got that one weapon. I found it. Hey, it broke in 4 swings. Like, stuff like that is ridiculous to me. But even though I personally didn't like it, the game has sold phenomenally.
Yeah.
So
It's
I know I'm in the
really
minority there. But again, though, I feel like when you have the title that's associated with it, if you don't come out at one of these shows that is supposed to showcase a reason why to buy your system, if it doesn't come out and blow everyone away,
Right.
right?
Definitely didn't.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I just wanted to get your take on that. That's something I've been thinking about for a
I
while,
agree.
especially with where we are now in systems, because systems don't necessarily have a mascot anymore.
No.
Right? There's no like, well, that's, obviously Sonic's only going to be on Sega. It's not like that, where
Yeah.
you are getting things kind of all over the place. Unfortunately, for Xbox, they do have, this is the game it's only ever going to be here. Right? Yes, it is on PC, but essentially Microsoft owns PC. It's their ecosystem. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I wanted to get your take on that. What do you think about that Borderlands? I don't know if you guys are Borderlands guys.
Oh yeah.
Not
It's
really.
like Tiny Tina's,
Something like that. Yeah.
something. I don't
like her
know
character.
exactly how it played. Yeah, and I like Borderlands a lot. Played through them all. Tiny Tina. This game though, is it the same type of game?
From what I got from it, it isn't, which is cool because I'm trying to beat part 3 right now with my PC crew, and yeah, part 1, great game. Part 2, really like what they did there. Part 3 is like, and it is not optimized at all. That game crashes so much. I know guys have to reinstall it all the time. Like, what is that about, right? Isn't that
frustrating?
Yeah, it's crazy frustrating. The game's like 80 gigs. You want to keep downloading that, right? So
That's back to your incomplete statement earlier.
Exactly.
Like we're okay with we have been rounded out with enough of that to like give some leeway. As before, you couldn't do that with a cartridge.
Before it's like, hey man, this
cartridge
doesn't
came
work.
out. That was it. Yeah, there you go.
Hey, you know what we did when the cartridge came out? And everyone knows this. You hyperventilated by blowing in it because you thought there was dust in it, and you'd clear it out of there, which doesn't work, by the way.
Right.
But
that myth was busted.
it sure was. It was busted by all of us as kids. We're just like,
If
I have asthma now.
Still did it.
Yep. It's like
So-
shaking a Polaroid. That doesn't actually work.
Yeah.
But
No,
if
no,
you
no.
do it today, you're gonna shake that Polaroid still.
Well, yeah. Doy. That's what you're supposed to do. Are you crazy? But yeah, I agree, Josh. That's exactly what we're talking about. Like, it's optimized so poorly. And these companies know that, especially if you're on a PC, even now with the consoles, because they're so PC-like, what's the first thing you're going to do? You're going to get your phone or your tablet. You're going to go on the internet and see who else has had this problem. How did you fix it? So the developers are like, they'll get it. And while they're figuring it out, right, we have a 180 gig day one patch for you. So, yeah, you guys are experiencing that on consoles now. That was just a PC thing for
and
a
it's
while.
nice to go online and find a Reddit that someone's, conversations that people are talking about the same problems you ran into, but it's also disheartening when you see 100 posts about the same thing.
Yeah, on day one. Like day one, you're like, is this really how you guys are doing it?
I mean, historically, it does seem like day one launches are getting worse and worse.
Oh, my God, yeah.
Even for Destiny's last season, not just season pass, not like DLC. But we're just talking about the next seasonal progression and to launch the next season pass. And I mean, 60-70% of the community couldn't even get on day one. And
That's rough, man.
I
rough.
would not be.
Well, that's what happened for me on Outriders. Me and my crew downloaded it day one. I mean, talk about disconnect. We got disconnected the entire night. So we decided, you know what? Maybe it's because there's a ton of people on the servers. Let's wait next week and we'll play it. Next week, same thing. I get disconnected all the time on that game. And then you have to sit through the loading screens and try and get your friend back in your game. It was so janky like that we stopped playing it. We haven't beaten it because
Wow.
I'm not going to spend all my
I
time.
sincerely hope not to encounter those problems by the time I open mine.
When you open it,
There was all kinds of other patches in that game too. There was some pretty good like overpowering builds you can do with the certain characters, and then nerfed it into the ground. And I saw a lot of people that was
I gotta
playing
say,
it, just like killed it. So
I don't have a problem when it's not a multiplayer game with them nerfing things.
Right.
Okay?
At least it's campaign.
When I'm going, I'm going to look at Division again, and I mean Division 1 and 2, where these guys, anyone who's played it knows what the Dark Zone is.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's the place
There's no
where
reason
I
to
die.
go. Yeah, it's the place where all of your dreams go to be crushed. Right? It's everyone gets together and you're like, man, we just beat the game, and I got an exotic somehow, and I'm happy because it's exotic. It's supposed to do something crazy. I'm gonna go in there, and there's gonna be one guy with a tank-like build, and he's gonna melt all 5 of us.
Yeah.
What is that? Right?
Yeah.
And they're like, hey, you know what? We've heard your cries, and we've nerfed some of those pieces of armor. And you're like, okay, cool. So maybe that one guy won't kill us. You go back to your guy, and you're like, he got he got destroyed when I went in the Dark Zone, but now he's not even good for single player because you nerfed all of those components that
Those
were
were
making
tied together.
Exactly. Like the nerfing if it's just a single player affair, cool, right? Maybe us as a squad, maybe we gotta be more focused on our attack now. But when there's multiplayer elements to it, like to me, those Dark Zone parts of both of those games are unplayable. And I know that there's, the hardcore Dark Zone guys, like, oh, you just suck, whatever, dude. You wouldn't say that to me to my face, right? Like in the game, you have all the pieces that you got when the game first came out, and there's an exploit where everyone just farmed, for 80 hours because you don't have human relationships, so this is all you do, right? And you got all those pieces, and now they've nerfed things, and it doesn't affect you as much as it does the regular humans in the world that play this game, right? So yeah, any kind of multiplayer nerfs, it's like as soon as they do this with one thing, the other things go like that. It's always this.
Overall game balancing could be a whole nother show.
Oh my gosh, man! And I could do it just on the Division.
Yeah,
it could be just one game.
We might
it's
have
across
to.
most platforms
Right.
in big games. I mean, Call of Duty meta switches on the weekly, which
That's rough.
at the core of it, when the guys are already 6 and 7 KD and you're struggling to put together a 1 KD, it doesn't matter what they're using. They're just
that's demoralizing for the game.
So they're just changing the meta every week, trying to get people to catch up when the best are just dope anyway. So there's not really much you can do.
That probably wraps it up for us today, right, guys?
Yeah.
Anything else? All right. Well, if you're watching this on video, we'll have contact details below. And if you're listening to this on a podcast service, our email is 702gaming@gmail.com. Hit us up with any questions or comments. We'd like to hear from you. See what you'd like to see. We're out.